Hello, this is Johan from Nonexist, Drug Tranquillity, and you're watching Loud TV.
All right. Hey, Johan.
Hello.
I'm with Johan here from Nonexist, but we are here to talk about your new Nonexist album.
Yes.
It's out in next August. And my last interview was with the previous Johan.
Oh yeah, leave.
Your previous singer that he left just before the release of the previous album. By the way, why did he leave the band?
I don't know. I think he, I don't know. Maybe he lost interest in the music, or I don't know. He wanted to spend his time with other things. I think that was the thing. It was never. There was no problem between us. We just maybe a lack of interest in on his part, I think.
And was it natural and easy for you to take the microphone?
I don't know. Actually, it had been growing a bit because I've been doing a bit of backing vocals and some clean vocals and some growling here and there on the previous album, and also doing the pre-production, the demo. So I sent to him. I did like the vocals, and also on Throne of Scars I did more vocals than on the previous album. So it had been like kind of growing on me, but I didn't really plan to take over as the lead singer. It just happened kind of out of the blue that he quit. So I had to step up to the plate, and that wasn't planned, but in a way it had been kind of in the works, because I've been doing, like I said, more and more vocals.
Mm-hmm. And the band is now 20 years. Was created in 2000, right? So
crazy. Yeah,
crazy. Yeah,
it's a long time, but band project, whatever you want to call it, but it was like more or less inactive for 10 years. So it's only been really active for 10 years total. So, but yeah, it was a long time ago. I started writing the first Nonexist songs. That's true.
and yeah, how do you analyze your career with this band? Because you play also in Dark Tranquillity now as a real full-time member, but also Andromeda and so many bands. What's the place of this band?
A good question. Actually, it wasn't that planned from the beginning, because Andromeda was more kind of my natural development from the bands that I had when I was a teenager, like my local teenage bands, which was more kind of heavy metal, thrash metal. Then I got into more progressive stuff, and that's what I naturally wanted to do as my main band, which was Andromeda. But then I also have this death thrash roots in my blood, and those songs come out pretty naturally. So when I was writing Andromeda stuff in the late 90s, I also was writing some more brutal stuff just for fun. And then our company just said, like, wow, these are really good tracks, actually. Do you want to make a second band also? And I was kind of more a bit like, yeah, surprised. And it wasn't really planned. And then it was just for me, it was a fun outlet for my really early, more brutal metal. It has become like a nice outlet to, as opposed to being in a band where you do things collectively, which is really rewarding and fun, and it's more fun to share, the rewards and the responsibilities together. But at the same time, it can be also frustrating, and it's fun to have a band where I decide everything, and things can go more. It's simpler. It's also harder because you have to do everything yourself, but it's fun to have that freedom. So it has become more like a, less, not as much, pressure, or I do it more or less for the fun of it, rather than think of Nonexist as a career thing. So it's more of a fun outlet. But I do take the music and lyrics seriously though. But it's like a yeah, like a good outlet to have on the side, like a side project.
And you do everything on this album and plus the production, right? So I think you
Yeah,
play the
actually, I
other one.
recorded myself and mixed it myself. Like, yeah, that's also like more a part of a learning experience because I'm truly like an amateur in that department. But I find it, developing to take on tasks which are a bit above your skills. So you have to push yourself and learn things and develop. So I think that's good. Then the mastering, I took the help from a good guy, Marcus Nilsson, which has been working with Andromeda and
Mm.
a lot of other bands. He's a real professional when it comes to mastering. But rest of it I done myself. But actually, I had some just like on the previous EP, I had some really good guest musicians also on this one. So
Yeah, you're right. They
that
are,
was fun.
they are of course, the Dark Tranquillity singer, of course, Michael, but you
Yep.
got also Roga from Merciless and Chris also from Dark Tranquillity, and
Yeah.
Marcus from Eucharist. Um,
Yeah.
I'd like to know if Chris Amott, who used to play in Arch Enemy, uh,
Mhm.
did he influence this album? Because I found the riffs, the guitar riffs, very Arch Enemy typical. The because I'm huge fan of the very beginning of Arch Enemy, and I found the riffs quite catchy.
Okay. Yeah, well, I agree. I'm also a fan of the early Arch Enemy stuff. So that's one of the inspirations for sure. There's a lot of different inspirations on this album, but yeah, early Arch Enemy is great for sure. Um, yeah, and bringing like to me that also there was some old heroes of mine like Roga from Merciless, which are one of my favorite all-time favorite bands, which sadly was a bit, I think, underrated and really get the exposure they deserved. But I've been talking to him, over the years here and there on like Messenger, and because I first got in touch with him when we did a Merciless cover for the second album from My Cold Dead Hands. We did a cover of Realm of the Dark, so I had to contact him to ask for permission, and so that's how I got in contact with him. And then I've been nagging him for years now to do guest vocals, and he wasn't too keen, but then he eventually came around. So it's great to have him on board, and also, of course, Michael, Chris, great musicians, and Marcus Eucharist is also one of those bands I think should have had more, deserved more exposure. uh, Early Eucharist stuff is great, and he came over to my home studio and he did some great vocals. So it's good to have him on board. And also Kalle Nimhagen, which is used to sing in a band from my city here, Malmo, which were called Embraced, which sadly split up very early. But I think they could have gone on to being one of the like the city's metal pride. But that big band split up when the drummer went to play with Andromeda actually, and then Sven, the keyboard player, he went on to play with first Evergrey and then Soilwork. So it was great to have some old heroes of mine on board for some guest stuff.
Yeah, and of course the guitar riffs are sometimes very melodic, but the main music it's pretty in your face death metal, like Sweden as
Yeah,
always do. Like I remember the old stuff, Dismember in the 90s or stuff like this. I mean, this is your biggest influence, and this is your most aggressive project, actually.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's fun to just let it rip with all these It's a lot of blast beats and stuff, and like you say, there's a lot of influence from Swedish death metal scene, of course, and also the American, the Tampa scene, of course, as well. Morbid Angel and Death and Massacre, all those bands, Malevolent Creation. So yeah, it's a mix of all that, and also some thrash influences, which is always with me, from all the big four bands and all that. So even though I don't really listen to a lot of metal these days, not that often anyway, because it's kind of it gets a bit boring to listen to the same music that you play. So, but I still love all those bands, and it's good to have those influences come out. So yeah.
And
For sure.
what about the clean vocals? Because on the song "Emerging from a World Below," there's a you sing in a clean way, and I like this
Yeah.
way, And would you sing maybe
Thank you.
more? Would you sing more in this way, maybe in the future?
Yeah, I think so for sure. Right now, I'm kind of what do you say, a bit rusty, but I haven't been singing for a while. But actually, the clean vocals already started on the second album from My Cold Dead Hands, which was the first album we did since like the big pause, the long hiatus we had. So there are some clean vocals on there, I believe. I think so, yeah. And also on the last album, I sing some clean vocals, mostly in Promise Unfulfilled. There's a whole bridge with the clean vocals, and that's me singing. Actually, from this time we started doing clean, it's all the clean vocals have been mine. So that was maybe where I first started introducing my vocals. Also some backup growls, but yeah, I think I will continue doing some clean vocals here and there. And I also working on a solo album, which is totally, actually, or at least the first one is going to be totally non-metal. So, and that's good. There's going to be some clean vocals there too. So for sure, I'm going to start, continue singing normally, so to speak.
So how many bands do you have? You got also you play also in Skyfire, right? Is it still the case?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not really that involved in Skyfire, and there's hardly any gigs ever. So to be a bit realistic, it's only like Dark Tranquillity, which takes up a lot of time, and Nonexist. And then I have some like Murder Beats is also, that's more of a project too. And Andromeda is kind of on ice for the time being, so it's mainly one main band and some projects, to be frank. But it looks like a lot of bands on paper, but when you look at it, really the schedules and so forth, it's not that insane.
You never stop?
I I never know. I never stop until I kick the bucket.
What's the deal with non-exist? Uh, would you like to play more on stage?
Yeah, for sure. The a bit of a problem is that since we don't really do tours, because it's pretty this stage in my life. I mean, I'm not 20 anymore, so it's really hard to get out and do like a support tour for several weeks and just lose tons of money. So to be realistic, we're doing more kind of one single shows here and there, and then you have to rehearse a lot just for one show. So it's kind of a bit of resistance there, because you actually have to rehearse more for one show than for 100 shows, if you know what I mean. I mean, we play a lot of shows like with Dark Tranquillity. We don't really rehearse that often because we get so much practice on stage. But so with Nonexist, I would, if it would be fun to do some more gigs, but it's also a more preparation for me because I have to sing and play, and I don't do that so often. So I have to, every time I prepare for gigs, almost like I'm starting it over from scratch, because I do it so seldomly. But sure, yeah, we would love. Long story short, yeah, we could see ourselves doing some more shows for sure.
And I've read that, and I saw you on Facebook that you have recorded everything for the new Dark Tranquillity album. Is it done?
Yeah, I'm done with my parts, and we're recording and mixing now. So, but I'm done with my parts. So,
Did you get more involved into Dark Tranquillity new album?
yeah, I worked, on the material, and since like last autumn to start recording in spring, and I was finished with my stuff in late May, I believe. So there was a long process of involvement there for sure. It was a lot of fun.